And Elliot, you've got a very interesting career, really, I think. You did start off as a professional dancer. You performed all over the world.
Yeah.
But what made you change from doing the dancing, the world of dancing, to this type of thing?
Well, excuse me. So it was an injury, really. I started really late. I started when I was 21, so I was kind of always up against it. And it was literally, I've got something called a disc hernia. Because I started so late, my back was really tight, but I had really flexible hips.
Yeah.
So I ground away at the spine. And then eventually my back just went, no more dancing, Mr. Kay. And I kind of had to pursue a path. And then what happened, I went kind of like typical entrepreneur, kind of lots of ideas, lots of different bits and bobs, and ended up, as a lot of people end up, in training. And I trained for some of the blue chip companies, for Sky Television, Talk, you know, a lot of sort of the big names in the UK. And I got known for my ability to really associate the brand into the training. And then one day someone said to me, have you ever thought about coaching? And I actually went, that's a ridiculous idea. All these coaches want is money. They don't really want to help people.
Yeah.
And I'd never really even met a coach. Yet that was my perception. But something really sat with me, and so I went into research it, and that's what I did. And I was like, wait a minute, you learn psychology, you learn all these different things about human behavior. And if nothing else, it'll make me a better trainer. So I bought the course, studied it, and then I was working with this one lady, and it changed everything. She said to me something that stuck with me ever since. And she said to me, Elliot, I've realized through working with you that I need to be happy to lose weight and not lose weight to be happy.
Yes.
That was the sentence. And that's when I started to pursue my path as a coach and really develop it as a business owner. And really, you know, I was like, that was my epiphany, my calling in West London, in my attic room. I had this amazing calling. And I was like, that's it. That's what I'm doing now, from now on.
From now on. And what's the story with the hat?
The hat, yes, that's an interesting story. So I could never find a hat that would fit me. I think we had that conversation. And when I was in LA, I found this amazing kind of Justin Timberlake type hat. And I was like, that's it, it fits, I'm wearing it. And I didn't take it off. And I entered a competition called Britain's Next Top Coach. And I was also thinking, what can I do to stand out and be different? So I thought, okay, we'll film it in a radio station and I'll wear my hat. Because I knew a lot of coaches would just stand there. So I did that. And as the results came in, a lot of the feedback was, we loved your video, we love your hat. It's like, okay, didn't think much of it. Got through to the semi-finals, and then didn't wear my hat. So people were like, loved the video, where was the hat? So it's like, okay, there's something going on here with the hat. So we themed the final, which I made it through, to coaching with hats. Very cheesy, but very effective with Elliot Kay. I came third in that. And then when I started to come out more as a coach and started to do talks, people were like, you're the dude with the hat, you're the man in the hat, you're that man, the geezer with the hat. And I was like, okay, there's something here, there's some feedback here. So we could either be stubborn and go, no, my name's Elliot Kay, and you will remember me as Elliot Kay, or we could actually do something. And we turned it into a brand, and I say we because I have a business partner, not because I'm schizophrenic. Okay, just for the
Thanks for that.
Just for the record there. So, and that's, yeah, we launched it in 2010, and it's just gathered pace and pace, and it's an icebreaker. People instinctively think of the cat in the hat.
Yes, yeah, that's true. And they sort of like open up more, don't they? They don't think of you, you're over there and you're the trainer, you're the coach, and I'm the person that's going to learn from you.
Exactly, and that's one of our things. We really want to help transform the image of coaching in the UK, because it can come across as quite dull or quite...
Too disciplined, maybe.
Sometimes.
Yes, yeah.
Sometimes.
And talking about that, I suppose the discipline, the experience that you had from training as a dancer and performing helped you with this part of your career as well.
Definitely. I mean, the discipline of getting up, putting the hours in, doing the work that you need, you know, being an avid learner, that knowing there's always another level, that you never quite reach, you know, and knowing there's something bigger than you out there, that it's not about you, it's about the people they're listening to, it's about the people that are working with you, you know, definitely helped me in that respect. It also helped me in terms of standing on stage. But when you stand on stage as a coach, as a speaker, it's a very different art to dancing, because obviously you're communicating to all the different learning styles, while dancing can be two-dimensional and three-dimensional if you have a stage with effects. well, here you need to appeal to everybody, you know, auditory, visual and kinesthetic, auditory, digital. So there's so much to understand if you want to really impact people as a speaker. So it helped, but I still had a long way to go. And I still got a long way to go, but it certainly helped me a lot.
Okay. Now, you run a successful programme. It's called Power to Succeed, and you run this in London.
Yes.
And I've read some of the, or listened to some of the testimonials, and lots of people have said it's completely changed their lives. So perhaps just give us a few tips about how you managed to do this.
Well, Power to Succeed, first of all, I'm going to say this up front, we're not a miracle workers, okay?
No.
So we give people the tools and it's up to them to implement it. I grew really frustrated with the self-development industry, that there was a lot of information seminars out there, but no one was offering an experience. All but one person who I work very closely with was giving the experience of how to shift things. And 2 years ago, like a typical entrepreneur, everything fell apart for me. I lost the girl I was in love with. I almost lost my business, my clients, everything. You know, typical, how am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to eat this week? That kind of story. And I got really frustrated. I had all this information, but application as an experience was missing. So I started to devise the empowering coaching system, which is what I use, and do things experientially. So I took processes and embedded them as an experience. Therefore, the shifts are deeper, working with the unconscious mind, whether you want it or not. And that way, I got much bigger shifts, and I released a lot of my stuff. And we all have our stuff. And if anyone claims they don't, whatever.
They're in denial.
Yeah, they're in double denial is what we call, because when they say, no, I'm not in denial, that's what we call double denial.
Yes.
Right? And then I found that it really shifted stuff for me. And we're talking some very deep-rooted experiences. So I was like, wait a minute, it's my responsibility to share this. So we started, we put Power to Succeed together, and we've now done this will be our 7th this weekend. And because it's an experience, it's not me feeding you all this information. Because it's an experience, people actually get to where they need to go versus being told, or, you know, through a PowerPoint presentation, being instructed where they need to go. And that's why it's been really impactful. That's why people have had massive shifts in the 2 days. But of course, that's just the beginning. There's a long term that we need to look at as well.
And with giving these workshops, you'll see, and dealing with companies, you'll see whether they're big companies or small companies, you see patterns, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest patterns is our judgment. Is our self-judgment, and it's external judgment, and how much we hand over our power.
Yes.
You know, we hand over this power to all these people that half the time we don't know, and we elevate them, and then we get in our own way because we make ourselves really small. This is what we call the big I and the little I.
Yes.
And you see, the big I really comes from a place of service and confidence and certainty, but a lot of us live in the little I, little me. And that's really devastating, because a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners won't allow themselves to truly flourish because they're in the little I, and that they won't stand there in the belief that what they have to offer, whatever it is they have to offer, can truly change lives. And that doesn't have to be from a coaching angle. It can just be the concept behind what it is they want to do with their lives.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, interesting. You've also written a book, and it's called It's Your Right to Be Wrong. That's right, isn't it?
Yes.
It's Your Right to Be Wrong.
That's right.
I thought that's an interesting title.
That's right. It's right that you got the title right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've written 2. So It's Your Right to Be Wrong was the first one.
I was looking at that one, actually. I'm thinking, I've got the title wrong.
And this is It's Your Right to Be Wrong in Relationships.
Yes. Yeah.
And what it is, I got really fascinated. I'm still fascinated by people's psychology around mistakes. And I spent a whole year interviewing entrepreneurs, successful, unsuccessful, through my radio show. What is the psychology? Why do we hate getting it wrong so much? I've always had that go-get. You know, I'm not afraid so much of getting it wrong, but a lot of people are.
Yeah.
And we managed to get it to a point through the research that we broke it down to people associate pain, judgment and punishment to getting it wrong. So then I wrote the book, It's Your Right to Be Wrong, all about that, all about things like rejection isn't personal, all about there's only feedback, how to keep going. You know, it's a very small book, it's no bigger than this one. And then someone approached me and said, I really liked your book, I'm a relationship expert, can we apply this to relationships? And I was like, absolutely, the fundamental thing, if we're going out and you won't voice yourself because you feel that whatever you say is wrong, then the dynamics is going to be completely imbalanced.
Yes. Yeah.
Then you won't express yourself, you'll shut down, you'll be hard done by, and you'll explode at some point.
And resent for the wrong reasons,
Exactly.
you know, when there's no need to. Yeah, it's communication, isn't it?
Absolute communication, but also you won't open up.
Yeah.
And you know, what happens in one part of the relationship will transpire everywhere.
Yeah.
So then, of course, all the other, and then if you're a mother, then that will come across to the children and vice versa. And then you find yourself very isolated in a relationship, all because of the fear of saying the wrong thing or being wrong. So that's why I wrote the second one as well.
Would you say it would help people as well to try and remember when they were quite young, before all the social conditioning and things, when you found life was absolutely wonderful, everything was fantastic, and you thought you could do anything as well? You know, nobody there to say, no, why do you think you can do that? You know, nobody there to judge you and make you think, oh, well, maybe I can't.
It can take you back to there.
Yeah.
I think you need to do some work as well, obviously, to clear that stuff. But
just as an image.
It's going back to that innocent, that child. I can do anything. Okay, I'll walk into a wall and it'll hurt, but, you know, I can climb this fence. I can keep climbing until they do. And that does get chiseled out of us for various reasons, you know, by our environment, by our education, by experiences. You know, suddenly we become aware of social pressure. And it's not something that there's a manual. Like, no one goes, do you know what? Now we're going to teach you to be wrong. Right? It doesn't quite happen that way. And yeah, you can go back to that innocent space.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, both of you. And I'm sure that we'll see you back on the coast very soon.
Oh, yes.
And we'll be keeping in touch with you, Nami, as well, about Malaga Business Minds and their activities. Thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you.
And of course, after the publicity break, we do have another interview for you. And this is with Lawrence Salvoni, and he's from the Royal Air Force Association. He's representing the Costa del Sol side of it. And David Pusey, Royal British Legion South. Following this, Gabby Ray will be back with us with all the latest news. I'll be back with you at the same time tomorrow. Hasta mañana.